Welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Terry Hunter. I'm an intuitive astrologer, and I'm here today to talk about the eclipse happening on October 14th, 2023 at 10:55 a.m. Pacific time. This eclipse is happening at 21 degrees of Libra. And for me, as I have interpreted and meditated on the aspects, I believe this is the most powerful influence astrologically of the year 2023. And I'll explain why I think that. What I would like to do before I start is encourage all of you to get your natal charts out. I personally look at my chart in Placidus when I'm looking at an individual. When I'm dealing with a large group of people, when I do my weekly readings, I go whole sign. The reason I like Placidus for the individual is because the house structure to me is very powerful. It gives me a strong indication of what the soul has intended for this lifetime. And if you have any personal planets or any sort of strong influence somewhere around the 21st degree of Libra, whether it be an opposition to that, a square to that, this eclipse is going to be extremely powerful for you in a way that you may not initially have realized. So let me jump right in. This eclipse is at 21 degrees of Libra, conjunct the fixed star Spica. Spica is a very fortuitous fixed star. It's known as the voice of the angels. It is at 23 degrees, 55 minutes of Libra. And being conjunct this eclipse makes me very much feel as if we are being offered an opportunity to come into partnership with a larger part of ourselves that is not inhabiting this physical experience. The idea that the eclipses are influenced and they are dictated by the nodes of the moon. The moon reflects our emotions, our intuitive body, our ability to self-care, and the emotional body is how the human manifests. If you do not feel worthy, if you do not feel capable, this will influence the outcome of any situation, just as if you feel capable and you feel deserving, that also influences the outcome of a situation. So, and what I want to do is I want to talk about the idea of Libra. Libra is traditionally known as partnership. It's known as marriage. We think very much of the Venusian qualities of Libra. And yet at the same time, I feel like often we miss a big chunk of the energy of Libra. Libra is the seventh house of introspection in some ways. When we look at fairness, we're looking at something from an objective point of view where our own personal opinion is not influenced by the outcome or the decision. It is ruled by the scales, which I believe is the only sign of the zodiac that is not a living, breathing thing. And that further indicates to me an opportunity to sit above a situation, not above it in a way of having dominion over it, but being able to have a clearer and more broad sight. Libra rules fairness and justice. It rules our civil servants. It rules jury duty. It rules attorneys. It rules the wisdom of the ebb and the flow of positivity and negativity. It is impartial at its best. And when Libra is more focused in on the human aspects of the Libra qualities, my partnership, giving to others, being cooperative, this is where we see that energy get a little sketchy and can get a little bit tit for tat, because when Libra is giving from its human body, oftentimes it sits in an unknowing, waiting and receptive energy. When am I getting back? So I believe that this eclipse, this new beginning, is offering us new sights on our expectations, a new opportunity to incorporate the ebb and the flow of what we call positive and negative experiences. The eclipse not only is conjunct the angelic star of fixed star of Spica, it's also conjunct the south node. The south node and the north node are what we call karmic points in our natal chart. So when we're looking at the South Node, we're looking at karmic habits. Karma is a choice. Karma is where an experience is presented to me in my human form, and I make a choice. That choice then kicks in the laws of the universe, the law of attraction, the law of ebb and flow, the law of compensation. These laws are becoming more and more apparent to us in our human experience. And those of us that have been walking a path of awareness are becoming more and more connected to this ebb and flow. And that takes me to the idea that Mercury is at 17 degrees of Libra during this eclipse. So we're seeing this sort of opportunity to assess the short tidbits of information that come to me that up until now, I have just sucked them down as if they were law. And I haven't really evaluated whether they work for me or don't. Now, Mars is also involved because Mars is at 1 degree of Scorpio. Now, while this is a 9-degree orb, Mars is conjunct the Shapley attractor. And the Shapley attractor is a point within the universe, which is this swirling energy of bringing something to me. And when I look at the idea of the 2nd degree, which is the Taurus degree, the Venusian degree, it's giving me an opportunity to see what I'm attracting through my everyday mundane thoughts. And then Mars is offering me an opportunity to be brave with those thoughts versus being stubborn, resentful, and angry. So we have an eclipse that is offering a new chapter. It is a solar eclipse, a new beginning in the sign of impartial judgment, in the sign of impartial and objective thought processes and activities. Ptolemy, the Greek astronomer, assigned the nature of Venus and Mars to Spica. So here we see the Spica in the sign of partnership with the influence of Venus and Mars, the man and the woman, the ebb and the flow, the woman being the receptive Venus energy, Mars being the action energy. Everything that's going on during this eclipse is giving us an opportunity to be aware of our ebb and our flow, of our assertiveness and our passiveness. Spica is very much a star that bestows good fortune when we are aligned to a deeper truth of not only our motivations, but our intentions and our unconscious imprint to give our power away. I believe that the 7th house truly does illuminate where we are either overly dominant or too passive, because as we migrate into the 8th house, we really experience that power and control through money and through sex and through the power people have over us. So as we sit in this awareness that this eclipse is offering us a divine and angelic experience to look at our imprint, to look at the South Node's influence and how it can sometimes represent what appears to be human loss, and yet that loss is an opportunity to rebalance the scales of justice. Let me be more clear. In the sign of Libra, there may be what appears to be a rumble, a wobble within the human partnerships, but on deeper examination, on this willingness to look a little bit more into, does this partnership really align to the highest vibration that I want to experience? Or am I somehow tucking under something that appears to be safe or appears to be secure or doesn't actually illuminate my own personal power of co-creation? I believe this is truly the age of Aquarius being birthed as we are aware of this. Now, this eclipse is also in opposition to the North Node, which makes sense. The nodes are always in opposition to each other. So here we're seeing this eclipse in the sign of diplomacy and harmony in opposition to the sign of self. And I don't think that this is necessarily has to be a challenging energy as much as the tension of the opposition is, do I care for the self? Do I nurture myself, or do I give my power away? Because sometimes the humans that are used to certain behavioral dynamics that we've been purporting for years, they start to rumble when we start to shift our way of being. Now we have the North Node conjunct Eris. Eris is the little sister to Mars. She is the fighter for the underdog. She stands up for what she believes in. So here we see Eris and the North Node stretching to feel this sense of individuality that actually contributes to my partnerships, contributes to my ability to be fair and just and harmonious. You know, I say all the time on this show when I'm talking about partnerships and talking about the sign of Libra that two me's make a healthy we. It's not about the infusion of two things coming together, but them being able to stand individually and support one another through their dreams. So I think this is very important. We also see while Mercury is at 17 degrees of Libra, we are seeing Chiron, the wound that we bring into this planet in the sign of self, in an exact opposition to Mercury. So I think that what this eclipse is offering us is an awareness of our thoughts, our everyday activities, how they dictate how we behave, where we go, the permissions we give ourselves for expansion, and also this feeling of oftentimes Chiron comes across as a feeling of obligation. And while Chiron has been transiting Aries for quite some time, it has been redefining the sense of self and how when we nurture the self in a healthy way, we're actually more able to give to others. Now, the big enchilada here is Pluto. As I record this, Pluto is stationing to go direct and will go direct 3 days before the eclipse. And while it will technically be direct, it will be maintaining a 27-degree Capricorn energy for quite some time before it moves forward. The 27th degree is the Gemini degree. So again, we're feeling this push-pull between trying to maintain the status quo because it's what we know, and then Pluto calling forth deeper and deeper levels of awareness of our everyday thoughts and how they dictate our ability to expand, to flourish, and to prosper in this life. Pluto has been squaring the nodes since the nodes were in the Scorpio and Taurus axis. So here, now that we've moved into the Libra Aries axis, what we're seeing is a continuation. First, we've been able to become aware of what's dominant over us, where we've given our power away, and in some respects experienced a death, sometimes physical, sometimes metaphoric, sometimes within our belief system. And that death is giving an opportunity during this eclipse to rebirth in a way that truly supports a more empowered experience on the planet. So what does Pluto want for you? Pluto really wants you to thrive. Pluto wants you to rise like the phoenix. But in order to do that, there is this awareness of the things that tether us to an old story. That's why Pluto rules the deepest parts of our psychological imprint, the parts that are considered toxic, the parts that are considered criminal in some ways, because they hold dominion over our happiness and oftentimes thwart that happiness. So as we've walked through this year 2023 in a Libra energy, a 7 energy of being able to step back and to observe objectively, intellectually, how our lives have been rolling, and rather than villainizing the dark spots, being able to see how the dark spots brought into more clarity what it is that we want, and in many ways more bravery to walk that path, to claim that reward, that experience for ourselves. I also want to offer this, because if you have any significant planets in your natal chart, either conjunct this eclipse squaring this eclipse or opposing this eclipse, there is an opportunity for something really great to happen. Pluto rules billionaires. Pluto rules the transformation from the unseen to the rising of and the phoenix being seen. Also, Pluto rules, or Pluto, one of the totems is the eagle. And the eagle is the connection to the angelic realm. Oftentimes, when we have a very challenging Pluto transit, it takes us to our knees. And when it strips away everything that we have depended upon for safety and security, we come back to the self that is the most powerful and influential dynamic when it comes to safety and security. So I think this is super, super powerful and very illuminating, because what I think as we move into 2024, 25, and 26, etc., what we're going to see is the more awareness we've had of our own energy and our own focus and our own thoughts. And rather than villainizing those thoughts or those experiences that create obstacles for us, we start to seek out the wisdom within the obstacle that then transforms it into an opportunity. And that's where I think we are all sort of heading. I think that the words I have to, I should, I need to, all get to be rewritten. They all get to be transformed into opportunities, because as I walk a path that may be challenging, that's where I experience my resourcefulness, my tenacity, and my determination. So I think this is super powerful. I also think that while it may not feel like it in this moment, this eclipse for many people, especially those that have the sun or the moon or your ascendant conjunct this eclipse, you could find yourself in a much more prominent position in your world, in your dynamic. This could be the beginning of a reward phase. And that phase is as long as your focus stays on its continued viability. And I think that's where you will truly represent a divinity that we have, as humans, have not had a privilege of experiencing. Very few do. And when they have, the power that they have to create is sometimes in such oftentimes very powerful people are in such small numbers, and their dealings are in such small quarters, in such small rooms, in little places. I don't know if I'm saying this properly, because it does affect us. I'm thinking of people like J.D. Morgan and Vanderbilt and all the men that built America in the early 20th century. While we were not privy to their activities, we were influenced and affected by the trickle-down effect. So now, as we as individuals become aware of our thoughts and things, and rather than looking at outside circumstances to dictate our interior emotional body and ability to create, we're going to start going from the inside out. So I think this is so powerful, that this fixed star that represents this connection to the angelic realm, that is offering us an opportunity in many ways to be egoless, the south node to what has been, because what has been may have served to fill the cup a quarter of the way, maybe even halfway, but it's not too much to ask for a full cup. And that's where Mercury's influence comes in. That's Mercury's at the 17th degree, which is the Leo degree. Am I having fun? Am I expressing the truth of who I am? Am I being an active participant in the creation of my own life? I think all of this is super, super powerful. So I want to encourage you to go look in your natal chart. Look where your midheaven is. Is it making aspects to this eclipse? There are dynamics that we look at in every day. We talk about Mars and we talk about Mercury and Venus and what they're doing. And at the same time, there are subtle layers. Mercury and Venus are never far from the sun, always within 2 signs. So if you're a Leo, then it's always going to be within 2 signs of the Leo. So it'll take you from Gemini, Cancer, Virgo, Libra. But if you're way over here in Scorpio, you're not going to see your Venus over here in Leo. So the reason I say that, did I just mess up the houses? because they're always 2 signs away. Okay. What I'm trying to get at is, as you look at the deeper layers of your own personal chart, you will see, well, I decided to be a Libra sun. And in that Libra sun, I knew that my Venus was going to be within 2 degrees of, or 2 houses, 2 signs of my sun. So the way that I perceive my self-worth, my skills, my beauty, my comfort, as well as the way I think, because Mercury does the same thing. They're the 2 planets that travel the fastest around the sun. They also have no moons. We don't see moons till we get to Earth and Mars. So I really want to bring this into your awareness so that when this eclipse takes place, you can set an intention, not at what you think you can create, but at what you want. You know, sort of pulling all the bars off the windows and going back to being a child who believes in magic, believes that there is a benevolent universe that bestows happiness and good tidings. So I hope this helped. Again, this to me is the most powerful influence, and our awareness of it and our setting an intention at this time has the ability to really reach further and further into our life path, bestowing good tidings upon us. And that's because we're inviting them in. All right, everybody, that's it for me for this eclipse. Again, I'm excited about it. I'm excited about its possibilities, and I'm excited about intending for a new experience. All right, everybody, please like, please subscribe. If you'd like to book a personal reading with me, I am available. My information is below in the description. Just reach out to me and I'll send you all the particulars. Thanks so much. I'll see you soon. Peace out.